Good evening, everyone. I figured I'd do another day of diary for everybody that's been following my trip to Poland. It is about, I think it's at 8 or 9 o'clock here. It's about 8:48 here, so one of my early nights tuning in, which is nice because we haven't had an early night since we arrived. People have kind of asked about the weather and other things that we did today. So the weather's been like in the 30s, rainy, cloudy, but definitely nice. So hasn't been, coming from Minnesota, hasn't been a big issue. But today was a lot of driving. We went to Warsaw today, which can be up to a 4-hour drive, but our drivers got us there in record time. And there, IFA and us just researched more, had some meetings with some critical parties that we need to meet with on next steps. And so pretty much our day was full of meetings and looking at future transportation, confirming things like that, and then it was a long drive back. And so I have a wonderful donor who wanted to treat me and Meredith and Dr. Andrew and others to a really, really nice dinner. We just haven't had time, so we had McDonald's in Poland. And if you haven't, I would say go ahead and go look at the menu of McDonald's in Poland, because their breakfast food, you can get some very interesting things. But you know, it was not the sit-down wonderful meal with a bottle of wine we wanted, but it definitely filled our bellies for the ride back. I didn't get to see much of Warsaw because I slept on the trip there and back. So did Meredith. Most of the time I looked up, she was sleeping, or she said I slept the whole time. But I think we needed it. And so tomorrow, I hope there's quite a few meetings again tomorrow, and some of the staff, including IFA, are going to Warsaw for more administrative meetings, but I plan to stay back at the Poznan Zoo tomorrow and with Dr. Andrew and spend some time with the cubs. So hopefully I'll get to do a live post with Prada, so you can see more of her. She's definitely a beautiful, beautiful girl. And we just need, there's not internet in the building where the cubs are, so I need a zoo employee to have one of their hotspots there. And so they've already done so much and given up all their weekend and everything for us, that I always work around their schedule because I know they've been really busy. We also had a lot of media out from the Polish media, just to talk about the process, kind of share the story of the cubs from when they were rescued in Odessa and Ukraine, or Kyiv, and then brought over, and then what kind of is the goal of getting them to the U.S. So that was interesting and fun. A lot of media, a lot of people very interested in the cub story because it's a symbol of so many of the animals in Ukraine. So I'm trying to think of anything else. That today was, I would say, a good day. We felt we've made progress and steps forward in what we needed to do. There's continues to be roadblocks, but the team has worked tirelessly and reached out to every contact we have and have removed some of those roadblocks. So nobody, is trying to stall or trying to keep the cubs from going to the U.S. But unfortunately, when you have war, things change a little bit, and there is protections in place for interstate and international commerce of wild animals for a good reason, to protect the bad guys from trafficking animals from in and out of countries. The hardest thing is when you're in war and you have this big, long process to follow. If one of those steps is broken or delayed, the import can be delayed. And there hasn't been any change in what the process is since the war started, and it's been a year. So from what we're hearing locally is that it needs to change for both pets as well as wild animals, because what used to be the process doesn't work when you have a government in war, and Ukraine can't start the process always correctly by issuing export permits, health certificates, things like that. And so there needs to be a better way to handle handle that, but that's not something we can do. Sometimes it takes legislation changes and things like that. So we're working through it, and again, the reason we're taking so much time and so much energy is trying to set the stage for a process of what would happen for future animals that need rescue out of Ukraine going through Poland. So it's bigger than just these. So people are asking when the cubs go back to the U.S. Finally, let's just all say it's going to happen because we're going to work hard and get everything done. Is that, am I going to travel with? I would assume I want to. I assume so. I definitely want to. As you guys all know, we are covering my costs to be here in Poland, and my staffing costs, my salary. So any donation for that can help. I am just anticipating that those cubs' journeys home will be soon, and we want to be ready for them. So your donation of $50 will buy name signs for the cubs, and we need 2 name signs, one for their indoor room, one for their outdoor room. So $200 or $400 would cover all their name signs. So that would be awesome. And you know how important that is. I always say they're not a true resident of the sanctuary until they get their name sign. And even though the cubs are being weaned, meaning they're getting formula, they don't need a bottle, but they're getting formula still in a bowl and helping them lap and really wean from that. We have to order quite a bit of S-Black powder, and we'll wean them off, and that's about $80 a bag. So if we could get 2 bags of S-Black powder at $80 each, that would be a huge help too. We're going to have intake exams. We're going to have vaccines. They've gotten their first set of vaccines, but they're too young to get their rabies or things like that. So we will have to be doing that when we get them back to the States, unless things don't go as we hope they'll go in the near future. So Giving Tuesday is Tuesday, and getting them home to the U.S. is a big step. And it is a wonderful step, and we're so thankful for all the parties involved. But remember, we also then have 20 years to care for them. So Giving Tuesday is a great opportunity for you to give to the Lion's Journey Home and to be part of this huge and once-in-a-lifetime rescue. It's more than a translocation from an out-of-country place. It's just very different. It's very different than the Buenos Aires translocation, because we had time to do that. It was planned. It was methodical. It wasn't animals in crisis that needed to be rescued right away. So we're really hoping that your support will help us not only, with the needs of the sanctuary to bring them home and prepare for them home, but for their long life at the sanctuary. You're going to get to see them grow up just like you do Nova and just like you did Dash. And that's going to be amazing. I already have learned a lot about each of their personalities, so we'll be sharing those in the coming days as well. But tonight is going to be a good night of getting some great sleep and starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow, and I'll be at the zoo. So I'm sure some of my live posts will be overnight for your nights, but it'll be our daytime. So I really hope to bring you Prada tomorrow and a little more of the 3 cubs. And so Dr. Andrew today did their flea and tick treatment. We also did the little shavings on their back legs so that they're identified, and they didn't seem to mind it at all. They didn't even seem to notice, so that's good. And I think Dr. Andrew's having a good time seeing them again before hopefully their final journey to the U.S. in the future. So thank you guys for being part of it. Like I said, so much detail behind the scenes, but it's a lot of administrative, so not a lot of stuff to share with you at the moment. But we will stay tuned. And again, you guys always step up to help, and I know you want to be part of this journey, and so there's definitely ways for you to support them. The sponsorships, I know many of you have already signed up to sponsor them, and thank you, because it costs $10,000 a year. So even though it's $50 a month, they can have multiple sponsorships to help cover their actual costs. Down the road, the girls are going to be spayed, most likely Taras will be vasectomized because obviously we don't want to produce cubs, so that's going to cost money. They're going to need ongoing vaccines and dewormers and things that we do preventative care. And of course, I saw some photos already of some ideas that the staff want to give them when we can welcome them home in the future. And so toys, they're going to be going through toys like crazy and things like that. So every bit helps, and every bit just ensures you're part of our rescue team too, because you always are. You're making this happen. And so I look forward to bring more of the cubs to you versus the behind the scenes. But this is the reality. You know, if I'm here a week, it might be one day that I really get to spend time with the animals I'm rescuing, because so much more goes on than spending the time with the animals. But my goal was, when I was here, to learn as much as I could about each one's personality. We met with Dr. Andrew and the zoo vet yesterday, so I got all the details of their medical histories. They were really, they were concerned about Lacia's leg formation from not having nutrients early on, but she seems to be doing better. She's still a little bow-legged, but you know, she's had a great diet and care since she's been here at the zoo. So those are the little things I want to learn, so that we're really keeping a close eye on their development as they grow. But they are happy cubs, and I've requested, if possible, if there's time, to try another play date with Prada tomorrow. But I'm not going to push that, because we'll have, you know, we have a lot to do. So it really depends on what comes up on the list of tomorrow, of what we have to respond to get the next step closer to getting the lion's journey home to the Wildcat Sanctuary. So thank you for being a part of it. I will keep you updated, and talk to you soon.